All right, everybody. We are back with more World Class Championship Wrestling and the WCCW review for 1982. We are on the 9th of October, easy for me to say, in the year of 1982, and we have an action packed show here. I think I misspoke in an earlier review, as David Von Erich is your current Texas heavyweight champion at this particular point. He's picked up the championship in his last few forays for the belt. Former champ Bill Irwin gets a shot in your main event here this week. Brian Adias and Craig Kabuki will kick us off, though. Kabuki, obviously, still Gary Hart's mainstay and very protected. And we are literally fast approaching a lot of things, fast approaching the angle that sets up Kerry Von Erich and Ric Flair for the end of the year. We're fast approaching King Kong Bundy making his way away from Gary Hart, among other things. So the latter part of the final 2 months of World Class in 1982, a big deal. But Adias does a lot of good things. We see an early drop kick, leapfrog, and working over the arm of Kabuki, but Kabuki manages to hit that inside-out shin breaker on Adias. Adias walked out, and the referee stops the match. Of course, that shin breaker is pivotal in kind of the reinvention of Kabuki, as Kabuki's been around for several months here and needs something new. As JR would say, learn a new hold, and we move into another Gary Hart charge. That, of course, being none other than the Checkmate versus the Samoan. Samoan relatively new here. I think he's debuted in the past few weeks, but looking very competent and competitive. Checkmate prefers to work on the mat, touted as the European star that he is. We see leg grapevines and takedowns, a short knee lift as Samoan re-enters the ring. Checkmate not afraid to grab an illegal hold here and there, but attempts to be a decent wrestler. Also known for that armadillo, where he kind of curls up in a ball and stays in a ball. But Checkmate does get his victory, as is wont to see fit, over the Samoan in relatively quick order, as they only go about 5 minutes or so. That armadillo hold enough to confuse the Samoan with a drop kick to the back, and then a inverted pinning maneuver and a 3 count for the Checkmate to gain the victory. Wild Bill Irwin talks about wanting to get the Texas Championship back. Talks about being the one to carry things when the David Von Erich and the other Von Erichs are not around. Bill Mercer, among others, get up in the face of Checkmate. Checkmate promises to show more of a wrestling style. They do a sit-down interview with Gary Hart and Checkmate. Checkmate offers to show him some of the holds that he eventually uses that are different because he has that European style. Gary Hart says, do not trust reporters, so media doubt goes all the way back to Gary Hart in 1982. Obviously, it goes back before that, but I find it kind of funny in the times we're in now, in 2020, that don't trust the media was a big part of Gary Hart's philosophy for his kayfabe world back then. But the Checkmate talks about coming from the island of Man and traveling all over Europe and Asia and anywhere that'll have him. Certainly he is a major star and comes across as such. We then go to a King Kong Bundy Al Madril brawl. I say brawl because, well, there's not going to be a lot of technical wrestling in this one. Again, Armand Hussein out with Bundy. Hussein seems to be in charge of Bundy predominantly. Meanwhile, Bugsy McGraw comes out to second his friend Madrill in things here. Useful for Bundy to have that, or Madrill to have that second, because Bundy's willing to cheat at any given opportunity. Bundy uses his power and might as one would expect him to, being well over 400 pounds. Slows the match down. Hussein happy with Bundy working a slower pace. I think Bundy is too. Obviously, Madrill and Bundy not going to light the world on fire, but a decent match for what it is. Then we kind of see Bugsy McGraw get involved with Hussein when Hussein tries to interfere from the outside. Bugsy there to save the day. Bundy bumps all over the place as needed. Madrill and Bundy square off. Bugsy and Hussein square off. Referee loses all control, throws the match out as the brawl is too much for the older referee to handle. Then we move into the main event with about 16 minutes remaining in the program. So of that, probably the main event gets 12 or 13 minutes as Wild Bill Irwin and David Von Erich do battle over the Texas Championship. And David is your current champion, which I think him being brought back was for that purpose. I don't necessarily think that Von Erich's going to stay very long in Texas without having a championship. At least that's been my experience in 1982 thus far. Really basic match. Not that David needs to be led. David probably the most competent wrestler of the Von Erich boys, but to be fair, Wild Bill knows exactly where to be, how to be there, when to be there. And we see a very basic, slower match using the holds, majority arm bars early. Later in the match, Von Erich switches to the leg of Irwin, and Irwin seems to be on his back and on his butt more than your average match. It is clear that David is your dominant guy. I could see where historians and the like talk about him potentially being the one to be a world champion at some point, having the size that he has and kind of the effect that he has. You can also see, and I've never mentioned this before, but as I was going through this, you saw it more than normal, the boom mic that mic'd the ring, which later in wrestling became commonplace, but here, to make it sound more intense, you see various camera angles and the boom mic as a sign of just making world class stand out. Remember, world class syndicating across the country, even as early as 1982. It might be fun to wonder about what it would have looked like if world class had tried to go national at the same time the WWF was trying to go national. Not that it would have necessarily worked, but interesting to look at. Sunset flip by the champion, 1-2, but only a 2. There's a snafu with the referee getting caught off that sunset flip. Referee not happy with this. And then we see Wild Bill Irwin using the rope to crotch his opponent. Goes for the cover. Referee is delayed, but does take the pinfall, and I think we gain the victory here. Referee acknowledging the win, and another official comes in to handle the benefit of checking on Von Erich. So that's where we go. Third referee in, though, basically interfering in the process, and the title does not change hands due to the third referee bringing about the use of the rope as a groin attacker. And so David retains the championship, even though the call for the win is there. They restart the match, and an inside cradle gets David the visual pinfall over Bill Irwin to close the program. We'll be back with more, but until then, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.